The geography of our world is truly one of a kind. As far as we know, no other planets match it. It features oceans, mountains, forests, living creatures, and fertile land. Earth could be 1 in a trillion, according to the United Nations states. There are 195 countries in total, 193 recognized, and 2 non-member states. Some countries have better geography than others. If you are a small, landlocked nation with flat terrain, chances are you won't become a global superpower. In this video, we'll explore some of the most disadvantaged countries in the world based on their natural geography. Starting with the largest, Russia. This is obvious. Russia is the biggest country on Earth by a huge margin. This benefits it, as it controls more land than any other nation. It also claims all resources within its borders, but its size brings challenges. It shares land borders with 14 countries, 2 of which possess nuclear weapons. Such vast territory requires extensive protection. Additionally, its climate is harsh, with much of its land being frozen or uninhabitable. This limits agriculture and development in many regions. Despite its vast resources, managing such a large and diverse territory is a constant challenge. Russia's geography gives it strength, but also creates significant vulnerabilities, making it a unique case among nations. If, theoretically, Japan decided to attack Russia from the east, Russia would need to mobilize its entire army to defend its eastern border. This would be a massive logistical challenge, especially given the heavy, bulky, armored vehicles Russia relies on. Despite being the largest country in the world, Russia struggles with limited access to the world's oceans, which hinders its ability to become a global maritime superpower. The Black Sea, where Crimea is located, is surrounded by NATO and EU countries, further complicating matters. Additionally, Russia's freezing climate means it only has access to 2 warm water ports that remain ice-free year-round. Even these ports are problematic, as Russian naval forces must pass through waters controlled by NATO or NATO-aligned nations to reach open seas. Another significant geographical challenge for Russia is the Great European Plain to its west. This vast flat region makes Russia vulnerable to land invasions from Europe and NATO. If Putin could change one geographical feature, it would likely be to give Ukraine a Himalayan-style mountain range, creating a natural barrier against potential threats. Russia's geography, while vast and resource-rich, presents numerous strategic vulnerabilities that limit its global influence. The combination of harsh climates, limited warm water ports, and exposed borders makes it difficult for Russia to project power effectively. Despite its size, these geographical constraints prevent it from fully leveraging its territorial advantages, leaving it in a precarious position on the global stage. Indonesia is not a single solid landmass like the United States, Canada, India, China, or Australia. Instead, it is an archipelago, the largest of its kind in the world. Even today, the exact number of islands in Indonesia is uncertain, but estimates suggest there are around 17,000, with about 6,000 inhabited. This fragmented geography means that for much of the population, waterways are the primary mode of transportation, which is far less efficient than road or rail networks. When a country is divided by water, each region tends to develop its own distinct cultural identity. While this diversity is a strength, it can also create challenges for national unity. Differences in culture, language, and religion often lead to separatist movements, which are problematic for any central government. The most populous region of Indonesia is Java, an island that would rank as the 13th largest in the world by size. Java is home to Jakarta, the capital and largest city in Indonesia, and one of the most populous urban areas on Earth. However, Java lies in a seismically active zone, making it prone to earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, which pose significant risks to human life and infrastructure. Additionally, Jakarta faces severe overcrowding and is sinking due to rising sea levels, prompting the Indonesian government to plan a new capital city in Borneo. Nepal, on the other hand, is a landlocked country sandwiched between India to the south and China to the north. These 2 nuclear-armed rivals with tense relations surround Nepal, leaving it in a precarious position. Nepal relies heavily on India for maritime access, as it provides the shortest route to the sea. India also supplies nearly all of Nepal's fuel, including oil and coal, essentially holding the country hostage. Nepal's geography is striking, stretching 800 kilometers in length, but only 250 kilometers at its widest point. Its landscape ranges from 59 meters to 8,848 meters in elevation, featuring 90 peaks over 7,000 meters tall, including Mount Everest, the highest point on Earth. Despite its breathtaking scenery, Nepal's landlocked status and dependence on its neighbors create significant economic and political challenges. Chile is a country in southwestern South America, situated between the Pacific Ocean and the Andes mountain range. It is one of the most earthquake-prone regions on Earth, making it highly vulnerable to natural disasters. Chile's geography is unique and unusual. It is one of the longest countries globally, stretching over 4,000 kilometers from north to south, yet at its widest point, it is only 350 kilometers across, with an average width of just 177 kilometers, about the distance between London and Bristol. The northern part of Chile is dominated by the Atacama Desert, one of the driest places on Earth. This means the country is surrounded by natural barriers: the desert to the north, the Andes to the east, and the Pacific Ocean to the west. These features make trade and connectivity with neighboring countries extremely challenging. Despite these disadvantages, Chile has become one of the most prosperous and stable countries in South America. This success is partly due to its isolation from the political and economic instability affecting many neighboring nations. Chile's geography has shaped its economy and culture. Its long coastline supports a thriving fishing industry, while the mineral-rich Atacama Desert makes it a global leader in copper production. The Andes Mountains provide opportunities for tourism and agriculture, particularly in the central valleys. However, the country's narrow shape and natural barriers make infrastructure development costly and complex, requiring significant investment in roads, tunnels, and bridges. Despite these challenges, Chile has leveraged its isolation to build a strong, centralized government and a stable economy. Its ability to adapt to its unique geography has made it a standout nation in South America, proving that even challenging landscapes can be turned into opportunities with the right policies and vision. Uzbekistan's geography is, to put it bluntly, challenging. It is one of only 2 double landlocked countries in the world, meaning it is a landlocked nation surrounded entirely by other landlocked countries. To access open seas, Uzbekistan must cross at least 2 international borders, making trade and connectivity extremely difficult. Approximately 80% of its territory consists of deserts, while the remaining areas are mostly mountainous. Additionally, Uzbekistan has limited water resources, further complicating its ability to sustain its population and economy. The country's climate adds another layer of difficulty. Summers are scorching, with average temperatures reaching 40 degrees Celsius, while winters are harsh, ranging from -2 to -40 degrees Celsius. These extreme weather conditions make daily life and economic activities challenging for its people. However, Uzbekistan is not alone in facing these issues. Most of the Central Asian stand countries, such as Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, and Kyrgyzstan, share similar geographical and climatic challenges. To make matters worse, Uzbekistan's geographical location places it in a politically sensitive region. Its former ruler, Russia, sits to the north, and with Putin's invasion of Ukraine, Central Asian nations, including Uzbekistan, must tread carefully. The region's history of Russian influence and its proximity to ongoing conflicts make it a precarious area geopolitically. Uzbekistan's geography, combined with its political and environmental challenges, makes it a difficult place to thrive, though its people have shown resilience in adapting to these harsh conditions. Poland is located at the heart of the European continent, which offers some advantages, such as ease of travel and trade with neighboring countries. However, this central position has also made Poland a frequent target for invasions throughout history. Its flat terrain, with no significant natural barriers like mountains or rivers, has left it vulnerable to foreign armies. This lack of natural defense is one reason why nations like France, Russia, Sweden, and Germany have repeatedly invaded Poland. For instance, during World War II, Germany was able to quickly overrun the country due to its open and accessible geography. Poland's location also places it in a precarious geopolitical position. It sits between two of the world's most powerful military forces, Russia and NATO. In the event of a conflict between these two, Poland would likely find itself directly in the crossfire. While Poland is not entirely landlocked, it has access to the Baltic Sea. Its practical access to international waters is limited. The Danish Straits, a critical choke point connecting the Baltic Sea to the North Sea, are controlled by Denmark and Sweden, restricting Poland's sovereign access to global trade routes. Additionally, Poland's continental climate brings extreme temperature variations. Winters can be harsh and bitterly cold, while summers are often hot and dry. These climatic conditions, combined with its vulnerable geography, have shaped Poland's history and continue to influence its strategic and economic decisions. Despite these challenges, Poland has emerged as a resilient and dynamic nation, leveraging its central location to become a key player in European politics and trade. Mongolia's geography is strikingly similar to Uzbekistan's. It is a landlocked country with no access to oceans or seas, despite its large size. The majority of its land is unsuitable for agriculture, as it faces severe water and forest scarcity. Around 1/3 of Mongolia is covered by deserts, and its climate is extreme, with harsh summers and winters that make life challenging for its population. Mongolia is sandwiched between two nuclear-armed superpowers, Russia and China, placing it in a strategically sensitive position. This location makes it vulnerable to the political and economic influence of its powerful neighbors. Additionally, Mongolia lies in a remote and often overlooked part of the world, which limits its global visibility and connectivity. Despite these challenges, Mongolia has a rich cultural heritage and vast mineral resources, which it leverages to sustain its economy. However, its geographical constraints and dependence on its neighbors continue to shape its development and global standing. Out of all the landlocked and geographically disadvantaged countries, Lesotho faces a unique challenge. It is entirely surrounded by South Africa, leaving it completely dependent on its neighbor for access to the sea and the movement of goods. If South Africa decided to block Lesotho's routes or cut off supplies, the country would have no alternative options. Lesotho is a small, impoverished nation with a population of just 2 million people, making it unable to compete or negotiate on equal terms with South Africa. This geographical and political vulnerability severely limits Lesotho's economic and strategic independence. Despite its challenges, Lesotho has managed to maintain its cultural identity and sovereignty, though its future remains heavily influenced by its relationship with South Africa. Being landlocked is often seen as a disadvantage, but being surrounded by the ocean can also pose significant risks. The Maldives, a country composed of hundreds of islands in the Indian Ocean, lies southwest of India. While its location in the open ocean makes it a stunning tropical paradise, it also leaves it vulnerable to invasion, as there are no natural barriers to protect it. The Maldives faces an even greater threat: rising sea levels. It is one of the lowest-lying countries in the world, with an average elevation of just 1.5 meters above sea level. The United Nations has warned that if sea levels continue to rise at current rates, the Maldives could become uninhabitable by 2100. This existential threat makes the Maldives one of the most vulnerable nations to climate change, despite its natural beauty and thriving tourism industry. Bangladesh, though small in land size, ranking 94th globally, is one of the most densely populated countries in the world. It faces a looming natural disaster crisis, as even an 8-inch rise in sea levels in the Bay of Bengal by 2030 could displace over 10 million people. The partial melting of Greenland's ice alone could submerge more than half of Bangladesh by the end of the 21st century, making it one of the most vulnerable spots on Earth for a humanitarian catastrophe. While global population growth rates are declining, Bangladesh's population continues to rise, exacerbating its challenges. The eastern part of the country receives heavy rainfall, while the Ganges River, entering from the northwest after flowing through heavily polluted regions of India, brings additional environmental stress. In contrast, the northernmost districts suffer severe droughts due to illegal deforestation. The Ganges also causes massive soil erosion, further reducing the country's already limited land area. Bangladesh is prone to extreme weather events, such as typhoons and earthquakes. As a developing, densely populated and economically strained nation, these disasters often result in monumental structural damage and significant loss of life. The combination of rising sea levels, environmental degradation, and rapid population growth makes Bangladesh a critical focal point for global climate action and humanitarian efforts. Most countries on Earth face geographical challenges, but some are far more disadvantaged than others. From the countries we've discussed today, which one do you think has it the toughest? Did we miss any nations that you believe deserve a spot on this list? Let us know in the comments below. Share your thoughts and explain why. Thank you for watching.